His answer list. Really,
You can start anytime.
Prepare it,
Yeah,
but
but you still got it cut, that you cut out.
Hey, Bill.
following the meeting.
Bill.
Jeez. Well, it's like patching asphalt.
Bill,
Yeah.
get started.
Sounds great.
I'm gonna have, I'm gonna have her get started,
Oh, okay.
because we're recording now, so I'll be able to record and post.
Right.
Do the pledge and everything?
No, not for a public hearing. Just introduce yourself, give the subject of the meeting and what you're talking about.
Okay, cool.
Okay, Chuck, you and Mary Ann, we're starting the meeting.
Okay. Okay, so my name is Julie Callahan. I'm the Grants and Project Administrator for the Village of Angel Fire. This is a public hearing for the ICIP for FY 26 through 30. We have some projects. Every year we do this procedure going through our capital improvement projects that we would like to see, what improvements we'd like to have. So this is our first public hearing of two. The next one will be on July 9th at 4 o'clock, if you wish to attend. So the department heads had a meeting last June 3rd, and we discussed some current ICIP projects, ones that we could take off, ones that we could add on. I did give Dennis some handouts, so I don't know if you guys got them, if we scanned them to you. Did you give him the 8 handouts that I had?
No, I've just got the paper handouts here.
Well, go ahead and hand them to him, so we can.
Okay.
That's a big job, Bill.
I know. I'll screw things up.
So the new priorities, the shift in priorities that the department has discussed on June 3rd. Number one would be the water line replacement and fire hydrant installation. This is a number one priority for health and safety reasons. It is also important to our ISO rating or insurance rating. There are undersized lines that need to be replaced to ensure we have proper firefighting capability. So we would like to replace some 2-inch water lines, put some 6-inch water lines in and add additional hydrants. This is a lot of it. This is mostly by the right south of Monte Verde Lake area. There's a under representation of there. Our number two priority,
Can I ask a question?
yes, sir.
On these water lines, I'm gonna jump around. I know when you and I talked here a while back, you were saying you're working on priorities as to where to go first with some of this. Is this in line with what Kurt is working with as far as prioritizing?
I believe so. He
Okay,
was at the meeting and so,
all right.
yes.
Yes.
I just wondered.
No. He was at the meeting, so he didn't say yeah, then somebody else say yeah. This is the public meeting. This is your input saying, hey, no, we have this over here and this should be a priority. Okay, our number two priority, moving up, we have tanks 2, 4, need the repairs and coatings. We did receive capital appropriations for this prior, but it was not enough to even get the coatings done. So we'd like to put it back on the ICIP and try to find additional funding sources to get those done, because it is a priority. Must restore and protect our water tanks to minimize water loss and to assure proper water pressure in our lines. These repairs and coatings will also lengthen the life of the asset. A typical tank is supposed to last about 50 years. We have our anodes that are supposed to eat up the iron in the water have failed, and so we have a lot of tanks that have rust and corrosion, need to be repaired and coated. Number 3 priority was fire station renovation, or I'm sorry, excuse me, transfer station renovations. This will also be a public employee safety issue. This remodel is long overdue and essential to maintain safe operating environment. The number 4 priority that we have now is Fire Station 1. Again, this item is prioritized because of our current Fire Station 1 is a workplace safety concern. And it is an old building that currently does not meet building code. Additionally, it cannot house some of our current vehicles without modification. Excuse me. Number 5 priority is a new enclosed solid waste drop off. I quote unquote called it a dumpster barn. Our current open air solid waste drop off facility results in trash being blown and carried by birds across our community. The 434 court area and the Halo Pine subdivision are especially affected by this trash. To keep our community clean and beautiful, we need an enclosed solid waste drop off location that is centrally located. So, Manager Weir discussed this lot over here is where the pine trees are, where the old dumpsters used to be. We took them away and made build that. Now they would put a dumpster barn there, but it'd be enclosed. That's what he was proposing. Number 6, we have streets and drainage improvements. This is an ongoing concern for the village, so there'll be an ongoing project, streets and drainage improvements through various village streets. Number 7, we have the sports complex at Allen Fields. This would include lights, bathrooms, concession stands, etc. This would drive more tourism and give our residents more options for recreation. These additions are needed at Allen Fields. There are several grant options that are available that would help cover this. And also, if we get capital appropriation for it, great, that's another thing to add to. 8 is the emergency radio communications tower. Once again, we do have $100,000 in capital appropriations that we awarded last year. Funding is still needed. I will have to discuss with the new fire chief, police chief, their plans for this radio tower. It would be their project. Eagle Nest is willing to work with us on a regionalization kind of program. They also added it to their ICIP in the amount of $300,000.
Sorry, didn't I?
Yes, sir. Go ahead. Public hearing.
Is this this 1 through 10, are these the prioritized things as your committee worked on, such as water line replacement is the #1 priority,
Yes, sir.
and emergency radio communication towers 8?
8, because we received partial funding.
Okay,
So
that
it's-
was my question, because I knew that had always been right up at the top.
Right.
Now it's dropping down.
Yeah, because we received partial funding, it makes it look attractive. We do have buy-in, but I'd have to talk to departments if they put in some of their budget funds, it has additional buy-in. It looks, hey, they're moving on this project, it's pretty close to being shovel ready. They just need funding to get it off the ground.
Good.
Okay, 9, we have Bill Burgess paving and sidewalks. This is one of our TPF projects that we put in. On our TPF projects are required to be on our ICIP. I won't know if we receive funding for this until August. Likewise with 10, number 10 is our Country Club Road paving project. Once again, it was a TPF project that we put up for consideration through District 4. It ranked lower than Jackson Hole. Jackson Hole ranked highest in the committee. So once again, it would be required to be on our ICIP to help get funding sources from get funding from other funding sources. And those are the top 10 priorities that the department head committee had discussed on June 3rd. Now, since this is a public hearing, the public is more than welcome to discuss any kind of infrastructure needs they'd like to see, any kind of change in priorities or anything like that. Yes, sir.
Number 5, the dumpster barn, are we starting to get some idea on a cost on that?
I haven't seen any numbers, sir. That would be the department head, to give me their project prospectus on what kind of numbers they're looking at. I haven't received any numbers from anybody.
Okay, so, I also agree with, Bill on the radio communications tower. That's been on our list for a long time, and hopefully eventually we'll be able to reach it.
I agree. I would like to see some movement on that.
Now, I'm sorry, one other question.
Yes,
On the country club paving. You're still working on grants to pave that.
The TPF, the Transportation Project Fund, is the main project funding sources for the NMDOT issues. So that was one of the presentations that we gave last month to the TPF District 4
Good.
stuff. So, we were rated and ranked, like I said, Jackson Hole ranked higher. I think we'd have to name it something different than Country Club Road, because they see Country Club and they're just like, ah.
Yeah.
But the plan and design is done for that. It's shovel ready, it's ready for asphalt. We might just say not go after state funding and do it ourselves. Cause plan and design is
There's some
done.
pretty bad places on that road.
Yes, there are.
I know you know that.
I took pictures and I sent it to, I did it as part of my presentation, so yeah, I'm aware of our issues.
I've actually, just received an estimate, Monday, to repave that. One wouldn't include any curb work or anything, but just replacing the pavement. So if we do determine it's something we want to do out of budget or go bond or whatever, if we're looking at minimum of 3 years to get grant funding. Again, I don't think it's gonna last that long. So if we come to that crossroads that we need to do it sooner than that, I have an estimate I just received Monday.
Good, thank you. Now, is this going to be on the agenda this next Tuesday?
It won't be on the agenda till July 9th. We have another public hearing at 4 o'clock.
Oh, that's right.
Then council will vote on it at the council meeting July 9th.
Okay,
This is just
yeah, I forgot about that.
one of the 2 required public hearings.
Yeah.
And if y'all have any questions,
Mary Ann, you have any questions? This is that wish list that we talked about.
Right.
no, well, see, they don't like when you
I
say
know
that.
they don't like it, but that's it.
It's
Call
the,
it what
yeah,
you want.
DFA would call it a planning tool. So what we do is we itemize out our projects we'd like to see happen within 2 to 4, 6 years. And then we go after funding sources to try to secure those funding. So like a sewer line extension that I'm looking at, $19.5 million. I won't be able to move on that until probably 2.5 years. The village, and I spoke with Manager Ware on this, the village would, I think, put up the funding for the plan and design. The plan and design for the water and plan and design for the sewer are both over $1 million. One's 1.3, I think one's 1.4. That's for Monte Verde Lake subdivision 1 and 2. I'd start with Monte Verde Lake subdivision number 2, because there is a PID sewer line right there by one of the roads, and it'd be. Yeah.
Would this be down by fire station too, so that sewer line could tie in?
No, it's further, it's in the older area, right by the,
The area more directly south of the country club.
yeah,
Okay.
there's.
Pretty
Okay.
densely built. There.
Right here. Yep, so the PID line comes in over here, and we'd start with this one first and then this one.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
Two
Did you want
reasons.
to look at this? Mary Ann, did you want to look at this?
I understand what she's talking about. I was just gonna make
I
an
know,
observation.
Oh, okay.
Two of the other reasons why that area was identified as what could be a good next step was one, that it is relatively densely built
Yes.
out. But 2, there's also very poor soil conditions there for
Septic.
septic systems, and all the lots are really small.
I know 6 years ago, we talked about that. And the fact that that really needs to be addressed, because that is a very dense area.
Yes.
And
the only issue I see is that all the federal funding for these types of projects, water, sewer, drinking water, they're funneled through through the state's clean water drinking revolving loan fund and the clean water drinking revolving loan fund. We would have to wait at least 2 years to secure that debt capacity.
Okay, so I have a question. New to this whole thing.
Sure.
So what you just said is that you pick your highest priority water project because you have one for maybe immediate funding, but then it would take a long time to do more within the water's distribution.
So while I'm waiting for our debt capacity to grow and be able to go after something, I'm thinking, well, if I get my plan and design done in those 2 years, and the village has put in skin in the game. So when I fill out my ICIP form, project funded today. Oh, we put up $2.3 million to get the plan and design done. Then it's quote unquote shovel ready. It makes it much more attractive to the people who are loaning out the money. That, okay, this is shovel ready, they're good to go, they have the plan design done, all their environmentals are done, we're good to go. And it just makes it easier to get, and the public works director, myself, the village manager, we've identified this area as an area of need. It is densely populated, it's one of the oldest areas in Angel Fire. They do have private septic systems, those private septic systems are failing. So it's also an environmental issue, we don't wanna have it leach down into our water table.
Okay, just an observation.
Sure.
This looks like an assortment of public improvement projects, meeting a lot of different needs. As far as fire protection through the fire hydrant system, if you've got some in the highly dense area of the village resort, between North Angel Fire Road and south of that, I know that there's, for instance, there's a fire hydrant that's wrapped in plastic and taped up, but it's in a high density condo area. It doesn't address a large area, but it addresses a large population area. And I just wondered if something like that getting that operational would, step in front of some of these other things.
That I'd have to talk to okay, first it's a capital project. So these aren't individual hydrants, like you're gonna replace one hydrant, even though it affects a densely populated area. It's a capital project that's over $5,000. It has to last 10 years. What, one single hydrant, I would talk to my water department and say, hey, what's the problem? Is it water flow issue? Is a crap fire hydrant? What is it that we need to get that working? And I would troubleshoot and find that reason why.
Okay,
So it
so
wouldn't, these are bigger projects, capital projects.
And actually, when you see a fire hydrant that's bagged off or painted an odd color, it's usually due to not functioning or insufficient pressure or flow. And those evaluations are done through the fire department, doing inspections of the fire hydrants. The last such inspection took place in 2020 and only inspected 20% of the fire hydrants. So we've got some catching up to do there.
okay. So even if you were to test fire hydrants within a certain boundary and you found 20 that were operational, could that be packaged as a capital improvement project?
If one hydrant would have to cost more than $5,000.
Yes, it does.
Okay,
Absolutely.
so then
But you couldn't package hydrant replacement over.
No, you could, you could. This is what I need. I need a fire chief say, hey, this is a priority for us. We need to have 50 hydrants replaced. I need this much money. Okay, then it can go on with that.
Okay,
Kurt, I think you can answer this. If that is due to insufficient water line, then we could address the insufficient water line through this. If it was a 2-inch, well, 2-inch or 4-inch water line is what is affecting that fire hydrant.
Well,
Then that could become a capital improvement, could it not?
yeah, to put it into perspective, prior to there even being a Village of Angel Fire, a lot of this infrastructure was put in.
Mhm.
With, the Village of Angel Fire, coming to be, then regulations and ordinances were to be followed in installation of new water lines. For instance, the minimum size water line you can put in is a 6-inch. If it's a dead end line, it has to be an 8-inch. It also designates that fire hydrants are to be located every 500 feet. At the time that a lot of the infrastructure was put in, those regulations or ordinances were not in place. So this is why we see areas with undersized lines that are not capable of feeding a fire hydrant. And also areas that may have sufficient line size, but don't have sufficient number of hydrants.
Okay, thank you.
I'm gonna shut up.
You can say anything else. Public hearing, you can ask whatever you want. I may not have an answer, but Or you could have a change of priority, say, no, I really want to have this. That's why we have these discussions.
It's very difficult to come up with a list of priorities when there's so many things that.
Yes. Well, because Marianne is chairing this comprehensive plan thing, that is at the top of her head right now is, okay, we can't hit everything. We've got to look at.
When it comes to our plan, or even if you'd like to help with this kind of an aid, I, have used it in the past and I'm familiar with, a prioritization matrix. And on one side, you have all your list of projects, and on the other axis, you have things like health and safety of the environment, and then, health and safety of the residents, environmentally sound, all the different qualities that you'd want in an improvement project. And you have a team of people that do a ranking of the projects, and then you tally them up, and then you get a composite answer of what would be a priority, and so it's mathematical, and you can tie it to numbers, and you can present it to your public and say, these are the projects that might be most beneficial and in their order. So I do have that if at any point you wanted to utilize something like that.
If I could mention, one of the members of our roads committee, which is meeting for the first time Friday, has already started such a process in regards to roads. We currently have Dennis Engineering working on our master plan for our water and sewer system. And part of the process has just that. The step that we're on right now is ranking probability of failure and consequences of failure. And there's other factors, but I think it's right along. the line
Yeah,
of what you're
sounds like
talking
it.
about.
Okay.
Officer Strickland, do you have any projects for the fire or the police department there?
The only thing that I was looking at was the comms plan, what was happening with the fire department. The idea of having the audio going. I think the biggest issue was, right now, we're looking at possibly moving to a satellite-based system. Jerry has talked about the ones that were implemented in Taos, and they are much better here. Like, you will not find a dead spot with a sat radio. So, and apparently dispatch, the equipment that would be required is not near as much as putting up a tower, installing all this equipment, buying all this equipment. So I'd like to talk with Teague and see about if we could.
If you guys are getting numbers on that, then we would have to take off the radio communications tower and input a satellite dish, emergency communication satellite dish. I would need numbers, and I would need your selling points of what this technology is.
Okay.
What do you need to have it work? Because I have to turn this in by July 12th, and we have a public hearing, another public hearing on the 9th.
Right.
Council will vote on it on the 9th. So if you give me all that information before then, we can present it to council and it can go on the ICIP.
Okay.
Because anytime you try to get state funding, is it on your ICIP? No. Well, yeah, you want it on there because that's how you're gonna get your funding.
Right.
And then you hit up Compost and Sanchez for funding, and I'll have to see if we can move that $100,000, or it'll just be reverted back to the state because it's out of scope then.
And it would be, like if we were gonna set up something with the fire department, it would be well within that range. But the idea is to get us communicating with everyone.
Mhm.
I know the chief has complained about losing comms when he's
Oh,
taking somebody
yeah.
to the hospital, to the valley. This would fix a lot of problems that we have as far as talking with each other. Being able to talk with other departments, it would actually be a very big,
So if
big
you,
improvement.
if you and T get together and fill out one of those project perspective forms that are in the ICIP invite.
Okay.
Give me the information, I'll get it, we'll present it to council, say, hey, we have a change in priority or change in technology.
Right.
And we can move this in, because I really want you to have that on the ICIP
Right.
this year, to get it in there.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. So if you give me the numbers by next week, you can start, or you know, like late next Friday or something. As long as it's before the 9th,
Okay.
because I have to get it into for them to vote and everything, and be like, okay, you can vote on this. You're on this ICIP resolution, get it to me before the 9th. This is what the fire department, police, the emergency services has identified as a priority for them.
Mhm.
And I agree, it is a priority, communications is a priority.
Yeah.
Then they can vote, on it. So we'd like to have it before. So you don't wanna wait another 2 years for stuff to happen.
No, I agree, all right, yeah, you know, is Teague gonna be here?
I-
You know, okay. All right,
So if that can happen, then I'd like to see that item moved up to number 5, at least for discussion.
You're currently on 8.
Yeah. Well, absolutely, if that can happen, it would be up to y'all to change
Right.
that priority, that
Okay.
prioritization. I could do it, but then be like, why'd you do that? That's why it's up to the
Right.
public.
Well, we're just
It's not
Start
me. It's just
getting the ball rolling.
There you go. Yeah, and then, we'd have to, I think we'd have to take off the funding and revert the funding for that we've received already for the radio tower. Because once again, the satellite would be out of scope of work, and then we'd have to push for funding for the
Right.
satellite, whatever the technical verbiage is.
Right, okay.
yeah, I appreciate it, yeah.
Anything else? Anybody from the public? Any online people?
Julie, if that is all for the ICIP meeting, I'd like to summarize with the current project rankings very quickly for the recording. And I will take these rankings and put them up as minutes for the ICIP meeting, along with any notes that I have. So Shay, that's coming your way. Here are the current rankings. Number 1, water line replacement and fire hydrant installation. Number 2, tanks 2 and 4 repair and coating. Number 3, transfer station renovations. Number 4, fire station number 1. Number 5, new enclosed solid waste drop-off dumpster barn. Number 6, streets drainage improvements. Number 7, sports complex at Allen Fields with lights, bathrooms, concession stands. Number 8, emergency radio communications tower. Number 9, Bill Burgess paving and sidewalks. And number 10, I assume this is Country Club paving project, correct?
Yes.
Those are the those are the 10 priorities we have right now. These priorities are open to comment with the public. The notes for this meeting will be on our Angel Fire website. Probably by the end of the day, if not, very early tomorrow. And our next meeting, Julie, if you could repeat.
Is July 9th at 4 p.m. prior to the council meeting.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
You can end this meeting yourself, Julie, if you'd like.
I call this public hearing of the ICIP 2026 through 2030 closed. Join us on the 9th.
Okey-dokey.